everyone, and welcome to episode 65 of the Best Day Ever Crafting podcast. This is a podcast about my making journey, but also celebrating with you all the reasons why crafting every day makes for the best day ever. My name is Trisha, and I can be found on Instagram and Ravelry as Tie-Dye Diva. Show notes can be found in the Ravelry group, and I will leave a link to the Ravelry group in the description box below. You can also find me at thefibertree.com, and that's where I sell stickers and stationery supplies and lots of other things you'll need for your planning and journaling needs. So if that's you, if you love planning and journaling, I hope you'll get a chance to visit and find something there that you love. I will leave a link to the shop in the description box below as well. And towards the end of the podcast, I'll share with you a couple of new things that are coming to the shop. So just in case you're not a planner or you don't journal, you can just cut on out after we talk about the making. Our make-alongs are going in full stride. We have two. We're continuing with the Cowborn Woolens Year of the Hat. So right now we're working on the November hat. I have not started mine. I have been terrible at the Year of the Hat to make along. I don't know what it is. I guess I've been distracted by so many other projects. And that's fine. No pressure, right? We're here to enjoy our making. And also we're finishing our whips from all the way up until the end of December. So let's get those whips finished so we can start off the new year afresh. Something else I wanted to mention, several of you have commented on the lipstick I've been wearing the past few episodes, so I thought I'd share that with you really quick before I get into the making. It's this tube right here. It's by the Lip Bar, TLB. I love the packaging on this. It's absolutely gorgeous. So it's a matte finish. Goes on really, really shiny, but then it dries to a really nice matte finish. So if you like a matte finish, you may like that. The color is Boss Lady, B-A-W-S-E. So that's Boss Lady by the Lip Bar. And thank you all for your comments. I like it too. I think it compliments me really well, and it also complements my new hair color. I got tired of the gray. I really needed a change, so this is my new look for the autumn and the winter, and we'll see what happens in the next couple of months. So let's get into the making, shall we? First of all, let's talk about finished objects. I finally finished my half and half triangles wrap. This is a pattern by Pearl Soho, made immensely famous by the Caddy Jacks Knits podcast. They have knit several and talked about how wonderful the project is for all you garter stitch lovers, and honestly, I could not agree more. So here it is. It's huge, as you can see. Basically, the half and half triangles wrap are two triangles that are joined and shaped into triangles by short rows. So if you love garter stitch and if you love short rows, this is the pattern for you. I actually wore this last week to the Frederick Fiber Fest, and it did a really good job keeping me warm. I'm still trying to figure out the best way to wear it. A couple of other folks have mentioned how they kind of fold it on an offset, and then you can kind of like wrap it up around your neck and wear it like this, so then you'll be able to see both parts. And it stays pretty much together. You also have a little bit left if you want to just tie this in a knot, but I generally don't like having that much like wrapped around my neck too tightly. So it was super, super warm last weekend. I really enjoyed wearing it. I think another way that I wore it was just the opposite way. I just folded it on an offset and tied it in a knot here, or you can just, you know, fling one side off to the back. You can open up these panels for more coverage, so you have a lot of options with this. And last but not least, if you're watching TV or you're knitting, you just want something to keep you warm, then just wrap it around you and use it as a blanket. It's, like I said, it's huge. I absolutely love it. I thoroughly enjoyed making it, and I'm about to cast on for another one. So I'll show you what yarns I'm going to use when we get into acquisitions. You kind of get a sneak peek right here. So again, this is the Half and Half Triangles Wrap by Pearl Soho, and I knit mine in Plucky Knitter Primo Fingering, which is the lighter color. It's Blue Blazes, and the darker color is Plucky Feet, which is Bohemian Blue. And again, like I said, in the show notes, you'll be able to take a look on my project page and get even more details and photos. So the second thing that I completed was my yarn cake shawl. So I showed this to you the last time. This was actually done in crochet, and here it is. I have not blocked this yet. I don't even know if I'm going to block it. So here it is. As you can see, another really nice size shawl. The yarn that I used for this was Sirdar Jewel Spun, S-I-R-D-E-R. I think that's how you spell that. But again, it'll be in the show notes. My ball band, I think I threw it away because I've already repurposed the project bag that it was in. But these colors are just absolutely beautiful. Not necessarily a gradient, not a gradient at all, but they just blend into each other so nicely. Really, really enjoyed working on this, and I'm trying to make sure that I have a crochet project on the hook at all times, because I really want to work on improving my crochet skills. And like I said before, the only way to do that is to just get in there and just practice, practice, practice. So this is the perfect type of project to do this. It's a boomerang shape, so you're increasing on one side, and that is what gives the shawl the shape. Let me just try it on so you can see how I will probably wear this. As you can see, it's plenty big enough. I can like tuck this tail in underneath. I'm not used to using acrylic yarn, so I don't know if this is considered like a premium acrylic, because it feels really, really good. At first glance, you would think that it's wool. And even the way it performed when I was working with it, it felt like I was working with like a hand spun or a really woolly wool. So thoroughly enjoyed this. I was going to cast on for another one, but then I remembered that I have 2 crochet blankets that I've started. So I said, you know what, before I start another one of these or another crochet project, let me at least get some progress done on one of my blankets. So I will share those blankets with you on the next episode perhaps, but you've already seen one. One is my granny stripe blanket. I'm using sock yarn and fingering weight yarns, and it's coming along really, really well. I've probably got about maybe 4 inches into that since the last time I showed it. So hopefully I'll keep working on that and be able to show it to you again. The other one is an Aran to worsted weight blanket. I'm just doing a continuous granny square, so it's just getting wider and wider. And I am doing that, as I said, in all shades of blue. So when I finish a blue project, even like the this project here, the Half and Half Triangles Wrap, that yarn is going to go into that blanket. I'm going to hold it double for a DK weight. And did I say worsted to Aran? It's actually DK to worsted weight that I'm using in that blanket. But again, I will share those with you as I get a little bit more progress into those. So that'll be my practice in crochet. So let me share with you the things that I am working on, my whips. So you saw these once before. I was finally able to finish one of my Socktober socks. This was a make-along being hosted by Hey Brownberry and Earth Tones Girl, Denise and Mars. And I'm just finishing my sock. The make-along is over now, but that's okay. I am so happy with the way these turned out. This yarn I'm using for this is Plucky Feet, and the color is Don't Go Over Bordeaux. So it's got some deep burgundies and browns and pops of gold and that hot pink. It's really, really pretty. And I did my standard afterthought heel on this. It turned out really well. I didn't have to pick up anything. I didn't have any holes. And I will link to the video that I used to do my afterthought heel. It's a Kirby Werby video. And I've cast on for sock number 2. So these are my on-the-go projects, or one of my on-the-go projects. And this is no particular pattern. It's just my standard vanilla sock, I guess you could say. I cast on 58 stitches, and I divide them between my needles. I almost always do magic loop method. Get about 1 inch of 1x1 ribbing at the top, and knit away. So absolutely love these. I don't know what else to say about them. Just having a really good time with my makes, which is the whole goal, right? So next up, what else do I have to share with you? My Milli sweater. So I shared this the last time, and I have made quite a bit of progress on this sweater. I have already separated for my sleeves. And it's coming along really, really well. So the Milli is a top-down dolman sleeve sweater. The designer is the ladies of Nice and Knit. They used to podcast and dye yarn. I'm not sure what they're doing now because their shop was empty, so there's no yarn to buy. The yarns that I'm using are Chelsea Luxe Cobblestone in 80s Radio. That's that slubby yarn that you see there, and I'm holding it double with Vahelia Valley mohair, and the color on that is Plume. I cast on with a double strand of a brown mohair silk, and that's from Knit Picks. And I started my ribbing holding the cobblestone with this color mohair. So the neckline is a little bit darker than the rest of the sweater. And I'm going to finish the body, the bottom ribbing, with this color held with the cobblestone as well. So I really love the way this is coming out. It's one of those projects that once you start working with it, you can't put it down because the texture just feels so good. So enjoying this. I'm using my Diacraft needles. They're hand-turned wood, so they're nice and how do I describe them? They're super smooth, but they still have just a tiny bit of grip. So it's working really well with both of these super slippery yarns. Honestly, I could just sit right here and just start knitting on this. It's just so lovely to work with. I got this idea from one of my knit friends, Tasha, who has already completed one milli using the cobblestone and mohair, and she's working on number 2. So this is how much yarn I have left over of this plume color mohair. I don't know if it's going to be enough to complete the body and the sleeves. I don't want the sleeves to be super long, so it's okay if they end up being really short. But I still have quite a ways to go on the body before I start the ribbing. So I don't know quite what I'm going to do, to be quite honest with you. I do have another color of, another skein of mohair that's very close in color to this. So I might try to just fade it in and see how that works out. So either way, I think it's going to work out okay. It's going to have to work out okay because I love this so much and I don't want it to be held up by a lack of yarn. I have plenty. I have a whole nother skein of the 80s radio, so I've got plenty of that. But I definitely did not plan well when choosing which mohair I was going to use. But that's okay. Mama is going to work it out. All right, so the final, I think, 2 more whips that I'm working on. So this here is a hat. It is called the Bucket Hat 2.0, and I'm hesitating because I can't remember the full name of the designer. Pam of the Knitting Place. If you watch the Knitting Place podcast, Pam and Dinah, who put on a beautiful weekly podcast. So they both came out with new hat patterns, and this was Pam's, and I agreed to test knit for her. The pattern was released this week. Again, it's called the Bucket Hat 2.0. Again, I'm going to link to all these things just in case I'm giving the wrong name. But as you can see, it's just a basic bucket hat. The yarn she used to design this hat was a Woolfolk Flet, which is a bulky, like boucle textured yarn. And she held it with a strand of DK. So I didn't have any of the flat yarn, and I honestly didn't want to buy yarn to make it because I have so much yarn already. So I decided to go with something that was completely different in texture from the flat yarn. I'm using some hand spun. I spun this up probably about, oh my goodness, maybe 5 or 6 years ago. It's a cotton, silk, and merino blend. You can see you've got those pinks and purples and blues. And I'm holding that double with this here, which is a blue sky alpacas. I almost want to say it's their sweater yarn, but I know it too has cotton. So my thought was I could take this into the spring as it's still a little bit cool, but not quite warm enough not to wear a hat. But I don't know how that's going to work out because this hat is so heavy. It is so heavy already. So that's not an effect that I was expecting. But either way, I think it's going to be a beautiful, beautiful project. I made another boo-boo in deciding which yarn to use because this is all I have of this blue. So I'm going to have to choose another skein for my stash to finish this hat. And I don't know exactly what that is. I did pull this yarn that I can hold with the rest of the blue sky alpacas. This here is called American Life. This is their worsted blend from Long Island Yarn and Farm. This is an alpaca and merino wool. This was a Christy Glass Knits special edition yarn from a couple of years ago. Was it Vogue Knitting Live where it was debuted? I can't remember, but I just loved it so much and I had to have it. So it might end up being this, or I may pull something blue from stash to finish it, and have the colors go darker and darker as it gets to the crown. And as I decrease for the crown, it would maybe even be nice to just have a really dark crown that really contrasts or picks up these colors in the head. I feel like I'm rambling. I hope I'm making sense. So I'm almost done with the body, or the main portion of the head before I start those decreases. So hopefully by the next time I record, I will have this finished. And here I am knitting again. But that's okay, because I got a feeling you guys out there are knitting as well. So we're knitting together. That means I must need to take a break from work today and get a few stitches in, because I definitely have the knitting bug, the want to make and knit constantly all the time. And that's a great thing. It's a really great thing when you're knitting and your making mojo is strong. And that is definitely where I am right now. So I'll put that down so that I can continue the podcast. I want to share with you is my Kaleidoscope pullover. So I shared this huge basket of yarn last episode with all the colors that I'm going to put in my Kaleidoscope cardigan, my Kaleidoscope pullover. You can also knit this as a cardigan. And here is the progress I've made thus far. So you can see I've got quite a bit going on here. I've got a little bit of that fabric yarn in there. I've got 3 colors of the, oh, what is this? I'm drawing a blank as to what this super bulky yarn is called. And all of my ball bands are over there, but I'm going to put it right down here so you can know what this yarn is. I've got several other colors, and I'm just going to keep striping randomly until, I don't know. I don't really have a plan for how I'm going to do the striping. I'm just having fun. This is being knit up on a size US 17 needle. So it's quite different from what I'm used to working with, but I'm starting to get the hang of it. When I first started, I was like, oh my goodness, I don't know if this is gonna work. I'm not enjoying this. But as I've started working on it, and as I see these colors and textures coming together, I really, really like it. So hopefully next time I record, I'll have quite a bit of progress done on this, but I'm really loving it. These textures, this is where the yarn, the fabric yarn, which is tied together, so you'll get a little piece poking out. There's another knot where the fabric yarn was tied, so that's poking out. This beautiful piece of, it's a bead with some metallic fabric wrapped around it. So that was in this beautiful pink yarn here. So just lots of surprises. And the thick and thin yarn, which is here, that I can't remember the name of, they are all plied with a gold thread. I don't know if you can see that. And I pulled a little piece so you can see even better. Very much thick and thin. And you can see that gold ply going through it. This is spun extremely light. I don't know if this is considered woolen spun or not, but it's barely just enough twist to keep it together. So it's super light and lofty, and it's pretty special to knit with. It's really, really lovely yarn. Just different from what I'm used to. So yeah, I'm just going to continue on with this, and we'll see where it goes. So next time, hope to have quite a bit more progress done on that. So let's move into acquisitions. So last time I recorded, I told you guys I was going to the Frederick Fiber Fest, and I went and I picked up a couple of things. So one place I knew I wanted to get to was the 29 Bridges booth because I want to make another half and half triangles wrap. These two skeins from 29 Bridges I already had, and the color is Brass Tacks. It's a little bit more golden than what this than what the camera is picking up. Yeah, let me hold it back a little. So it's definitely more like this. So last weekend I picked up these two skeins to match. So these two will be my next half and half triangles wrap. And this is on their plump sock base. It's 401 yards, 115 gram skein. So it is indeed very plump, super soft. It's a superwash merino, and the color is Coral Reef. So we'll be combining Coral Reef along with Brass Tacks. And I think that's going to be really, really pretty. So looking forward to getting this cast on. That half and half triangles wrap is definitely one of those projects you can take with you on the go, because it you just knit, and knits in short rows. That's it. So it's the perfect on the go project until it gets super big, and then it's kind of challenging, but still a really good on the go or travel project. So that was that. I also knew I wanted to visit the Yarn Hero booth. I always say that Yarn Hero for me is my substitute for Spin Cycle, which is a beautiful yarn, but it's kind of pricey when you consider the yardage you get. So take a look at these two beautiful colors, and I got these out of her sale bin. So I think these were like 16 bucks. They're not the same, but they will coordinate and blend really well. So this is on her stipple DK base. It's in a 75 merino wool and 25 South American wool. It's considered a DK light, and it's 215 yards each. So yes, definitely a steal of these two. They coordinate really well, even though they're not exactly the same. So I can see this in the as the color work portion of a yoke sweater. I have a sweater quantity of a really deep purple from Duck Duck Wool. I think would work really, really well with this. It'll also work with the cream and maybe even a navy. So love, love, love these. They're super soft, and I can't wait to pick out something I can use those with. Also, the very first booth that I visited at the festival was the Creatrix booth, and I talked about the Creatrix bags once before. Sharon Ilstein is the proprietor of the Creatrix bags. We used to actually work together, and she retired from our company and started making bags. Now take a look at this. Is this gorgeous or what? And it's huge. That's what caught my eye, the sizing of this bag, because when you're a larger gal or guy, it's kind of, it can be challenging to find a bag that will work for your sweaters. So I'm just going to dump some yarn in here. Thus far, I've got six skeins of yarn. 6 skeins of yarn, which is exactly what I would need for a sweater if it was a fingering weight sweater, a long fingering weight sweater. And I'm pretty sure I could get 6 skeins of DK or worsted in there also. And look how much room I still have. We've got a couple of pockets on the inside. I love her fabrics. She really tries to source unusual vintage type fabrics, and I just love this so much. And I also thought the price point was amazing, because this bag was only 40 bucks. So love, love, love this. I'm gonna throw another skein in there. So that's seven skeins of yarn in this bag, and there's still room for a project. So excellent job on this, Sharon. She will be vending again next month at the Greenbelt Arts and Craft Show. I believe that's the name of it. I'll put a link to that. So if you're in the Maryland, DC area, close by, then you definitely may want to check her out. And I believe she's also on Etsy. But again, I'll figure out all these things and make sure it gets in the show notes. Then I went to visit my friends at Haynes House, who have beautiful hand-dye yarn. They're a husband and wife business, and they also are local to me. And I told them Saturday, I said, I just really enjoyed seeing you guys, your business evolve. And they just started with, just small batch yarns. And now they're doing amazing things, just vending here and there. I believe was it Vogue Knitting? No, Rhinebeck. They did, they vended at one of the Rhinebeck events. And it's just really a pleasure to see their business grow. So congratulations, Terry and Brian, and just keep it up, because I love what you guys are doing. So I picked up this project bag from at Haynes House, and Terry is the yarn dyer. She dyes all the beautiful yarn, and her husband Brian, also known as Uncle Brian's Bags, does all the sewing of the handbags. So you guys knew. You know I had to have this. You know how much I love my coffee. And I thought it was really cute. So he had this bag in 3 different sizes and styles. So this is the dark rose, because the fabric, you can see the colors are really dark. The other bag like this was light rose. So the colors, exact same fabric, but lighter. And then he had like a tall bucket style bag. It was about this shape, but around, and he called that one Venti. So I think I need to go back and get the Venti bag, because it's just so cute. Very well made. And I love that you can see what's going on in the project bags, which is awesome. If you're one who chronically casts on and sometimes you can't remember what's in your project bags, this is a must-have. One other thing I picked up was this beautiful basket. There was a booth there that had the African sourced baskets. And I am in the market for one of the larger baskets, but I'm not sure what size and color I want. But I don't have anything like this beautiful bowl. So I picked this up, and this is going to go on my coffee table in the living room. I can get a couple of books in here. And a couple other knickknacks, things that we use in the living room quite often. So this came from African Market Baskets. Yep. After we left the festival, we went to the Knot House, which is in Frederick, and it's just an absolutely beautiful shop. Again, if you are ever in the Washington, D.C. area, you should do some yarn crawling, because Knot House is probably about an hour and a half from Washington, D.C., but totally worth the visit. And I picked up a couple of things from her, but I did want to share this with you. One of the things I picked up, this is a Julie Aslin boucle. It's 70% alpaca, 30% Highland wool. And I just thought this was so pretty. And this was also in her sale bin. So if this bucket hat comes out as well as I think it will, I may actually cast on for another one using this yarn and holding it with another DK weight yarn. So pretty. It reminds me a lot of the Woolfolk Flit. All right. I think that's it for acquisitions. Yep, that's it. So yeah, we had a really, really great time at the festival. And tomorrow, I guess I'll sneak this in. Tomorrow, which is Saturday, November 13th. Today is Friday, November 12th. I will be heading to Where am I going? I'm going to West Friendship, Maryland to the Maryland Alpaca and Fleece Festival. So totally looking forward to that. I'll try to take lots of pictures and share on Instagram, maybe in real time. We'll see. And yes, really looking forward to that. And then that's it for what's around the corner for the next few months. I'll be taking it easy because I've been on the go a lot the past few weeks, and I'm tired. I'm a bit tired, so I need to slow it down a little bit so I can take better care of myself. So, but have been thoroughly enjoying all of the yarny adventures. Let's talk a little bit about journaling. I have talked a lot about planning and maybe just a little bit about journaling, but journaling has really almost like taken the place of my planning. So I love planners, I love paper, I love notebooks. And I've used a happy planner. I've used so many other different types of planners. I own lots of other types of planners because I've been experimenting, trying to find out the best system that works for me. But I think what I have discovered, or at least what's working for me right now, is bullet journaling. Because I can create the spread that I need, so I'm not forced into making my plans fit into a pre-made template from another planner. So that's why bullet journaling works so well for me. And I'm also a big time list maker. I'm always making lists and to-do lists and meal planning lists, shopping lists, brain dump lists, so many different lists. And bullet journaling allows me the flexibility to do that and to carry things over into the next week or the next month. In addition, when I'm using an actual journal, as opposed to a planner, I have all these blank pages, and then that also allows me to do a little bit of art journaling. So then I came across a very prolific journaler. Her name is Helen Colebrook, and she's on YouTube. She has a Patreon. I actually joined her Patreon because the amount of information and resources and tutorials and the amount of information she shares on a monthly basis is it's mind-blowing, and it has helped me so much to figure out how to navigate bullet journaling as well as art journaling. So definitely check her out. I do hope to continue to add more journaling and planning content to the channel, but could not recommend Helen Colebrook enough. And if I'm not mistaken, I learned about her through the Crafternoon Treats podcast, which I've also really been enjoying here lately. And so thank you so much. And I cannot remember the host name of the Crafternoon. I almost want to say Catherine. But again, another lovely podcast who's feeding my desire for crochet. She does a lot of crochet. Right now I think she's doing a crochet handbag make-along, so definitely check her out if that's something that interests you. Again, that's the Crafternoon Treats podcast. So I say all that to say I've really been enjoying journaling here lately, bullet journaling as well as art journaling. This is definitely a new journey for me, but I am enjoying it so much. I have a lot of stuff going on in my head. I've got plans for this small business that I have. I've got work obligations, home obligations. I've talked a lot about health obligations, both mental and physical challenges that I'm working through. So being able to get all that stuff that's in my head onto paper and then creating art from it has been so amazingly fun and cathartic. So yeah, I'll be sharing more. And I think what I'll do right here, I'll insert a few pictures of some of the journaling spreads that I've done here lately. So yeah, so I hope you enjoyed that. Again, I really do hope to continue to add more content on the channel so that you can perhaps get some inspiration for your uh, journaling needs. Last but not least, I want to share with you a couple of things that are going to be coming into the shop. I can't believe we're talking about winter already, but we are. So I've got a couple of winter themed sticker sheets I want to share with you. The first one I'm calling Critters and Sweaters. So it's basically all the furry fun animals, and they all have on sweaters. This is Winter Knits in blues. Winter Knits in pinks. Pinks and beige and just all the cozy, fluffy things. Watercolor knitting. These are some strips of washi. Last month, I released a brand new coffee lover sticker sheet. So this is going to coordinate with that really, really well. It's got the same illustrations. And again, these are just strips of a whole strip of sticker. And what's great about these, I'm really trying to work on making more sets that coordinate. So if you're like me and you're challenged, you don't quite, sometimes you get a little bit intimidated by that blank page because everything is designed to coordinate so well. It should help you out a lot in just creating a cohesive, neat spread. So we got washi strips for coffee lovers. This is going to blend really well with the tea lovers sticker set. And these here, which I have in a tan and pink background. These are going to coordinate really well with the two new winter themed sticker sheets I just showed. And I believe they will also coordinate really well with the critters and sweaters. So yeah, just a lot of fun things for your planner or journal. I've also decided to resize the days of the week sticker sheets. The other set that I had was about a 4x6, so unless you have a really, really large planner, they really didn't really work for a lot of folks. So I decided to make them much smaller and much more user-friendly. Finally, I will be adding a few journals to the shop. A lot of people ask me, where do I get started? How do I start? And I posted my mini journal on Instagram a couple of weeks ago, and there was a lot of interest in that, and people asked if I was going to be adding journals to the shop, and so here they are. So it's just a basic craft paper on the outside and dot grid on the inside. It's a really nice weight of paper. I wouldn't recommend doing any paint like watercolor, but should definitely hold up to markers and ink, and of course stickers. I grabbed one for myself, and I actually put some decorations on my copy. I think I showed you guys this stencil that I created on the last episode. So I just did some aqua animal print stencil, some washi tape and a couple of stickers. So you can totally do that. And I also put a little bit of distress ink on my edges because it's just so white and plain, and I really like that vintage vibe. So that's just an idea you can do. And I've already started decorating the inside page, and that first page I wanted to get something on because I usually like to do a 2-page spread. So I can open this up, and I have both sides now to work on for my first art journaling spread. And speaking of Helen Colebrook that I mentioned earlier, she is actually in her, I think on her Patreon, yes, on her Patreon, she is hosting a art journaling challenge for the month of November. So that's what I will be using this particular journal for. Yeah, so I think that's it, guys. I think that's all I have to share with you today. So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you found something that inspires you in your making. Don't forget, if you enjoyed what you saw today, to hit your like button and your subscribe button if you haven't already. Tell your friends, your maker friends, about the podcast, because the more the merrier. So continue to find lots of joy in your making, and I will see you in the next episode.